Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is SatTV Week. Now I'm here at Global MilSatCom where I'm pleased to be joined by Joe Apper of Rivada Space Networks. Joe, thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure, Richard.
Let's start with an update. What's happening with the Constellation?
We have had a pretty busy year, I have to say. You know, in terms of the Constellation, what we've done with the overall program right at the beginning of the year was an award a contract with the manufacturer, Terran Orbital. We also awarded a contract with our launch partner, SpaceX. So we've gotten that element sorted and in place. We also were successful with the ITU Radio Regulatory Board in them granting us our waiver for the network, which places us very much on track with the overall program, with launching the first 300. So now very much the focus is on getting to launch. Our first launch is scheduled end of Q2 2025, and we've got 12 launches planned. And those 12 launches will see those first 300 being completed the year after. So between now and then, we're also actively working on the commercial side, working on what we call our MOUs, or Memorandum of Understanding with our partners. So really we can get their requirements, their requirements globally, understanding what they want to do application-wise within the verticals, understanding how much data it is they want to utilize. And so we can put that all together and work with our engineering team to look at that entire network globally to understand what traffic is needed where. So there's a lot going on. The team's been expanding. I mean, we've added another 10 people in November. September, October, November alone. We're really ramping up. So we're up to about 80 people now in total. And I think we'll be close to about 100 with the Space Networks program by the end of this year.
So let's look at your future constellation. What's going to make you different from the competitors?
Yeah, you know, and I'd say the biggest thing that makes us very different is the architecture of the network. You know, we are not looking to implement gateways on the ground, number one. So there are some significant advantages automatically that are gained by not doing that. We are also from day one installing laser diodes on the satellites. So each satellite will have 4 laser diodes. So being able to communicate with the next satellites around them. Those are inter-laser satellite linked. That's a big game changer from day one. So having the ability to really put all of what would have been your ground infrastructure into space. That's a massive differentiator, which means that you're more secure. We will be able to deliver high bandwidth at very low latency from a simple point-to-point presence. We're going to be operating at layer 2 as well. So that's also another high level of security. We have recently signed up for the Metro Ethernet Forum Standard 3, which means it's going to be easier for us to communicate with our customers, especially at the enterprise grade level of user that we're going after. And let's not forget, what we are doing is delivering a network for the high-end satellite user that buys into that low latency, high bandwidth, high security, and means that, you know, they will absolutely understand that not touching a point on the ground and not having to use fiber or arguably the internet is a massive advantage.
Now we're at a MilSatCom show and the demands of government users are way above the consumer. So how are you going to ensure that security?
Yeah, so, you know, and again, I spoke about how this network architecture in itself adds to security. The fact that, again, we're not breaking out over the internet on the ground. We don't have to go to a gateway. We don't have to transverse onto fiber links. That in itself, not having to do that, really helps you security-wise, really improve your level of security. The satellites themselves will have beam hopping ability, 16 beam hopping abilities. And again, that really helps you from a security standpoint, trying to really tap into that. If you were trying to interrogate it or interfere with a specific beam or a link, makes that incredibly hard. Operating all of our connectivity in space is actually another key advantage. and helpfulness in the whole aspect of security. And the amount of bandwidth that we're delivering is being done at a CIR level, committed information rate level. We can work with our government users, and they can use their own encryption devices, which normally takes up quite a large piece of bandwidth if you're installing that onto the terminal and onto the links. But because of the bandwidth that we're offering, that could easily be adapted without compromising really the data requirements of that link being needed. And to throw on top of that even further, we did in the last year sign an MOU with a company called Spectral, which is introducing an option of layering in quantum key distribution across the network. So there are many things that are going on. The network in itself is inherently secure, but not just relying upon that. We're working with the user community with their encryption requirements, and also providing other options to layer additional security on top where needed.
Now, Leo's talked about as a game changer, but not everybody out there is a lover of Leo. What would you say to them?
Yeah, not everybody is a lover of Leo. I mean, this is all about innovation. Leo is changing. What's been achieved, I would say, to date in Leo is quite remarkable when you look at how that is serving more your internet to home. For us, this is innovation. This is a move in the right direction and the way forward. We are seeing, a lot of positivity where people are taking Leo and incorporating that into their overall portfolio, introducing multi-orbit approach. So that seems to be something that we see satellite operators really communicating to their customer base. We see other organizations buying into Leo to add a multi-orbital dimension to their approach. I think that it's horses for courses. I really do. I think, what we are doing Leo-wise, we're targeting a carrier Ethernet type of architecture, is different than other Leos in the market. We aren't chasing the consumer direct-to-home market. It's a very different proposition for a Leo. So what we do is specifically now look at that enterprise-grade customer in the certain verticals, and there's a lot to be offered. There's a lot to be done that can't be achieved today with any other satellite network. And our approach primarily is B2B. That sings well to a number of the resellers in the market. So this isn't, creating a stir competitively by chasing the user directly. We are really trying to align ourselves with those partners in the market that are excelling within their own verticals or regions and have their own capabilities, value-added services-wise or support-wise, that really then adds a new dimension, a new whole package to the customer.
Sounds interesting. Thank you for joining us.
That's a pleasure. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for having me.